Hello everybody, today I've got a very exciting video, a purely old world video around Chester. So it's going to be a very exciting day today. There's so much stuff to discover. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so the first truly impressive structure we come to is Chester Cathedral. Look at this. I'm going to clearly explain the way the electromagnetic energy would have worked in these structures. But just first, just look at the magnificence of this. Ask yourself, would an underdeveloped population be building something like this? With no technology apparently. Look at all of the artwork. Look at the sculptures, with apparently no 3D printers, no technology to make each one look the same. Look at this, I think this is a panther of some sort. Just look at the detail. Look at the detail. It's absolutely incredible. And look at the height. Look at the height of the structure. It's every little brick, every little place has its own detail. It's not just bricks, it's the detail involved, the artwork, the indentations, the cavities, everything. It really is an incredible structure, this. Perfect timing. The bell just went off then. Electromagnetism in the grid work together with sound, water, magnetism and frequency. All of these work together to generating the free energy. The ether, the fifth element, the quintessence, was drawn down from the structure with spires, with the use of spires. Just take a look at the ornamentation on this spire, 1 second. I'll zoom into the spire. So they were drawn down, the ether, by using domes and spires. The ether was drawn down into the structure, and the sound, frequency and vibration all went together to energizing the ether, and it all worked together with the use of creating abundance of electromagnetic energy. And I will explain further. This is just a brief clip, this one, because there's so much to explain regarding all the indentations and important little things like these. These are little indentations, sound altering gaps and cavities and resonators all around the structure. This is really a fantastic example. The old world was an electromagnetic grid. Now, there is many features that I'm going to show you on here which played a vital part. So we've got each individual colonnade. I'm going to show you the smaller ones here. These would have had iron inside, and iron is extremely magnetic. But all of the old world structures are full of these colonnades. Look at them all here, just on the front section of these. These are all around the structure. They have an intended purpose in the electromagnetic grid, as magnetism goes towards creating the free energy. Magnetism is all over the world. The whole earth is an electromagnetic realm, and they just harness the electromagnetism that was already here on the earth and still is today. But we have lost the technology, or at least it's been hidden from us. Now, if we come around this corner here, you can clearly see, just look at the size and the majesty at the top. Just look, the detail involved. And all of these structures, if you think about it, cathedrals resemble castles, water towers resemble castles, churches resemble cathedrals, and so on and so forth. It's because they were all part of the same grid. They were not castles, they were not churches, they were not mosques, they were not water towers. They were all part of the original grid. We have been lied to. These structures cannot have been built by our primitive ancestors, because we didn't have primitive ancestors. The people that came before us were more advanced, and this is clearly proof. People travel from all over to take pictures of an apparently primitive people on horse and cart apparently building structures like this, and it makes no sense. So ask yourself the questions: could our primitive ancestors be building structures like this in every city across the world time and time again? The answer is they couldn't. Look over here, what would you know? Barclays, another bank, have taken over part of the old world structure. We'll see if I can get in today, but I don't know if you have to pay or anything. You know what these people are like nowadays, making you pay to see electromagnetic places. So I've made my way inside the cathedral and it is incredible. It's an architectural masterpiece and again an impossibility for those without the use of technology. This symbol is actually everywhere in the old world. This is the 4-petal. I'll show you on some of the other structures hopefully if there is any more of these everywhere, but yeah, it's a 4-petal thing. It's a type of cavity magnetron that they use to vibrate the sound. But the whole sound, this is all that resonates all over the structure, so when the bells go off, it would have vibrated through the entire structure. Remember the colonnades again here. I'll talk more about it outside, but I don't want to talk too much whilst I'm in here. It's, people are very quiet in here. But there's so much that I could explain with all of the horseshoe shapes, the electromagnetic, you look at all the columns, you know, again in the horseshoe shapes, like I saw at Rivington. If you scroll through my other videos, look at the indentation, the designs on every single one. Every single thing you see, it's got perfect designs. So again, these are all set out in the horseshoe shapes. Now remember, what is the most powerful magnet? It's the horseshoe magnet. It's all set out perfectly in the shapes of the horseshoe magnet. And this is the same throughout the entire realm, not just at Chester. It's all set out exactly how they knew it would work best. This was all done for an intended purpose. They knew exactly what they were doing and why. Do we build structures like this today? No. Instead, look at the brutalism that's outside your window. Sometimes they say these structures were built in such little time as well, but just look how long do you reckon it'll take to build just one individual stone? And then you've got the entire structure. So to build that by hand like we're told, it'd take them forever. It'll be an impossibility. They had technology. And that's what we need to find again. Sometimes I think when I'm seeing people, you know, taking photos of these structures, they obviously think it's a masterpiece. So why don't they again question how did they actually build it? Did he not go further than that? So now that's what I feel every time I see someone take a picture or whoever works here explaining, you know, the magnificence of the structure, but they never actually explain how on earth did it got here in the first place. Just use your head to explain how long it would actually take to do each individual thing and to get all of the stonework to the site in the first place, sculpt it, build the designs, build the size. It's mind-blowing. It truly is mind-blowing. The earth is full of hidden things. We cannot trust the official narrative. I really want to go up through that stairway, but it's locked. Trying to imagine what I'd actually find up there if I went through. Strange, isn't it, if you think about it? We got a cafe, restaurant inside the structure like this. Just makes me laugh. It really does. It's taken the builders about 3 years to 5 years to build a dual carriageway, a mile long, near my house. Now, the official narrative a lot of the time tells us that these structures were built in such short periods of time as well, and it's just, once you just think about it, it makes zero sense. It's the most stupid thing in the world. How can people be so gullible? Now's the time to wake up. If you actually listen to my voice, it echoes so much as well, and this is because of the perfect symmetry in the structure. So when the sound was played originally, it would have vibrated so well throughout the whole structure, and sound is vital when it comes to creating the free energy. It would have been vibrating through the cavity magnetrons, through the resonators, and energizing the already produced electromagnetic energy. I'm going to talk more about it after. I think that money was probably going towards giving another official narrative, I think. So I'll be giving nothing today. The official narrative says that the cathedral was founded in 1092, so that is old compared to what they normally say buildings like this were built in. But don't forget, it says founded. It didn't say built. We don't know when it was built. So it just proves how old a lot of these structures were. But again, the official narrative can't be trusted, as so many of these buildings that look exactly the same as this were said they were built in either the 1500s to the 1800s, which again, horse and cart society cannot have built them. Therefore, before, if we go with their narrative, even before then they would still be on horse and cart, so they wouldn't be able to build them either. So that means there was a previous civilization that had the technology to build these structures and understood the way life works. So next to the cathedral where I've just been, there is another absolutely fantastic structure, and I'm going to try and show you what some of the design principles were on it. As you can see at the top, they've turned the cavity magnetron, which is symmetrical patterns where the sound would have been played through, vibrating the frequency, into a clock. They've got the colonnades all the way through. They've got the symbol of the 4 there, like I've just seen the petals. That's another cavity magnetron there. The symmetry all the way along, all of the cavities across. Fantastic structure. So this structure here was apparently built in 1869. I don't think so. They all say about that year, the 1800s, there was some sort of great reset happened that allowed them to redesignate so many of these structures to that date. I think in 1800s people would be able to build this. I don't think so. Again, we've got these cavity magnetrons all the way across the building, and at the top over there, it's the same as the cathedral. Okay, this is a small example, but it's very, very good example. This is the symbol of the toroidal coil that we find on all of the old world columns across the realm. The toroidal coil is an important when it comes to magnetism. So what happens is a lot of the old world buildings have a Q pillar on top of the structure. This is probably being taken down as I don't think it's original. What happened was the ether would have been sent down and the energy would have been spinning around in a vortex, a toroidal vortex. And this is what this symbol is all about, is a toroidal, it's the electromagnetic field. It's all to do with electromagnetism. They give it in plain sight for those with eyes to see. Look again at the indentations and the perfect artwork all across the building. Exactly the same as the cathedral, but apparently this was done in 1800s, the others the 1000s. It's a lie. The same people built these structures. I'm going to explain a bit about what this red and white brick is in a minute. What it symbolises. Because this red and white, well, not red and white, but red and that brick colour symbolises the red and white. I'm going to explain soon. It's all over the structure, that design. the roof at the top of that structure is definitely not original, as you can see. So the red and white background on that structure behind me, it symbolises again energy. Think about power stations now, that red and white symbol, it still stands today, and that's what they had to symbolise it back then, and so many of the structures. Unbelievable. The truth is hidden in plain sight. Across the road from the cathedral is the same brickwork as the cathedral itself. So there would have been separate parts to it. There would have also had an engine room to store the electromagnetic energy, which I've not talked about yet. But all of these structures had a designated engine. And it doesn't look like it's here, unless I've missed it inside. Because sometimes it was inside the structure, sometimes it was separated outside of the structure. I've got a sneaky suspicion that this tower might have been the engine or something to do with the cathedral. It looks too covered up, in my opinion, because it says here in the narrative that the cathedral bells were rehung in 1975, but it doesn't say what this was or anything else. Where were they hung originally? Might be wrong, but it's always interesting. As you can see on that so-called Tudor building, it says it was built in 1395. Now that is older than the structure I just showed you before, not the cathedral, the other one. This is definitely been cladded over. It's to make you think it was built in that time period, but as you can see, that writing's new. Anyone could write what year that was built in, but underneath that structure, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be, that's just painted on, that's cladding. It goes for all of them. They were really stone like this, and built. They're all the same designs. This is all nonsensical. See, that's not even a door below there, that's a window, and that's way below the surface. You could just hear the bells went off in that structure I just showed you before. So this is the main street, and look how far that goes under the earth. See, with this building on the corner, the ornamentation at the top is the same as on the cathedral. Same design principle. We've got every single shop and every single building is actually underground. Is this mud flood evidence? Perhaps. Every one. What I've noticed is a lot of the buildings are actually cladded over. Most of the buildings are, as you can see. The brickwork is still original inside, but all of these buildings are just cladded over with New World designs. A lot of the banks took over the original old world architecture. So we've got the symbol of the toroidal coil or the toroidal vortex when it comes to generating the electromagnetic energy at the top of the colonnades. So again, this is the building society, the bank taking it over. There's the reef, also another symbol of the old world. The evidence is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Again, the original columns here, and it's just cladded over on top. Again, here it's just half of the original building and then half of the New World. Same on the other side. They just leave half of it, and these just little bits of evidence of the original structure in between the building. Okay, so here it is. Now, at the top is the Q pillar. It's got a dome on top rising up to meet, it would have had an antenna, the noble metal conductor orb. The noble metal conductor orb, again, is like I said, it's a conductor of electricity. It would have been spinning round in a vortex in that Q pillar. The mercury, it would have been mercury. There's an abundance of mercury being found, and mercury responds well. And the vortex, you know, this was heavily used in the grid, it's mercury. These aren't chimneys either. These are little turrets. They look like chimneys, but they're not. There's some sort of creature on the top there. It's a perfect example. The structure itself also goes way below the earth. In the old world, the octagon was very important. The Q pillars at the top always had 8 sides. The mercury spinning around in there is always in that octagonal Q pillar. It was very important. If you always look at the top of the cathedrals and the buildings across the realm, you will always find it has 8 sides. The engine always has 8 sides. But look at this. The Crown Court, which it is now, wouldn't be originally. As you can see, oh, there's another structure at the back as well. Again, look at that. The 4-petaled side, the same everywhere. As you can see here, the colonnades, this time giant, along here. And as we go at the back, there's another castle-like structure behind, with more colonnades running down the sides. On the columns at this side, you can see the similar toroidal coil. The bells are going off on the structure I just showed you before. It still has the intact bell tower, so it will be vibrating. And here, look at this. Look at these columns. The wind's picked up, sorry, I have to shout. Let's have a look at the narrative surrounding this place, but this is what I'm talking about, the columns. The symbol of the toroidal coil looks like it's been taken off. You see, look at this, it's pictured the people in a drawing, building structures like this with wooden tools. Come on, give me strength. That is an absolute fraud. I cannot believe it. You can't seriously buy into that. It's ridiculous. Again, it's giving them dates, 1808, 1811, 19th century. It's all around them dates. But the Great Reset happened and they redesignated these structures. Solid stone. That's not going to be put up with wooden tools, I tell you. Look at it. Think back to my other videos at Rivington and all my other old world videos. Chatsworth House, if you scroll down. Chatsworth House is very similar in look to this. Because, but how can that be? One's a manor house and one's a pavilion or whatever. No, it's because they were all part of the same grid. Before I leave you all today, I just want to do a quick explanation and an overview of what I've seen. So the electromagnetic grid of the old world has been covered up to us. The principles are the same throughout the whole world. The electromagnetic grid will use the same principles throughout the entire world. So we have the cavity magnetrons, the spires, the domes, the noble metal conductor orbs, the indentations, the cavities, the colonnades, the symbols, the pictures, the drawings. the stonework. It's all over the world, and the evidence of water I'm going to be showing you on some of my later videos. I'm going to be still journeying through them. So they had water, frequency, music they played to vibrate the energy. It was stored in engines, fused in water. There's plenty more to discover. But I want to leave you with the message of I am not going to be doing loads and loads of videos on the old world. It's a passion of mine, but it can be a distraction. It can distract us from nature. And therefore I will do the odd tour around the buildings, but if you want to look into it, there are other places where you can learn apart from my channel, because I want to concentrate on nature and being the best human you can be, living your life in the age we find ourselves in now. The old world was ruined for a reason, who knows why, and that's why you can't get into it too much because you'll go crazy. But I do it because I need to wake people up to the fact we've been lied to, therefore we can take our power back. Because if we've been lied to about this, we've been lied to about everything. So therefore connection to nature is the vital thing. This is a byproduct. It's a passion. And yes, we may be able to build electromagnetic energy in the future again, but on the scale that it was, I don't think it was necessary. So who knows? Well, I thank you for watching, everybody. It's been an amazing day. And I'll see you on the next video, probably in nature next time. Thank you.